Hi, so I am going to go ahead and do my meal plan before I do any more filming. um, I just I just started my lunch break and I felt like I wanted to go ahead and do this and get it out of the way before I move on to other things. So for next week, I'm going to do it's something I've done before. It's probably been a little while, but I'm going to do the spicy Thai basil tofu. I chose this one mainly because I don't need to buy anything except for the tofu, and it's going to let me use up some basil because I honestly have just had it coming out of my ears. I've gave some away to friends. I'm drying some. I have some in a vase on my countertop. Just that's one of those things that like you can actually root it by cutting some and sticking it in water. It'll grow new roots. So it'll last forever essentially in a vase of water. So I've stuck a bunch in there. And then I ended up just composting a ton of it because there was just way too much to do anything with. And I know in like another month, I'm going to have that much again because basically my basil plants had gotten massive and they were kind of blocking sunlight to the plants that they were companion planted with. So I cut them way back. And that was how I ended up with so much. But this will allow me to use some of that. So I will link this recipe down below if you want to check it out and try it. I've got it on the screen at the moment, but I will also put that on my YouTube page as a post. So if you want to go and take a look at it, I've kind of moved to doing that rather than doing my blog. I've had good intentions of updating and doing some blog posts and stuff, but I just do so much. Like, honestly, just filming for YouTube takes up like 20 to 30 hours a week between the filming and the editing, on top of having a full time job and then all of my hobbies, reading and the embroidering, which I am finally almost done with my apron. I've got like one little flower left that I need to do, and then it will be done. And then I need to alter it because I'm short waisted. So, of course, it's a little long. So I need to alter it a little bit. And then it will be done and ready for me. And that's one of those things that I should have had done forever ago, but I've just been doing so much this summer. Um, Anyhow, I would love to get out to the garden. It looks like the sun has come out and it might actually be staying out. I had already kind of planned on working on clear coating my doors on my lunch break. I'm also going to make my berry popsicles, which I'm going to film as soon as I'm done with this. So you'll get to see that again. But I want to get those made in the freezer. And then I was going to start working on my doors because as of right now, the only thing I've clear coated has been the outside of my front door because when my sprinklers run for the grass that I just had to reseed this year, it gets wet sometimes. And then also my bathroom. Obviously, a bathroom, there's moisture from showers and stuff. So I wanted to make sure those doors were protected, but I haven't done any of the others yet. And they really, really need to be done. So that's what I planned on for today. And I probably still will do that, but it's just been rough not to go out and do the gardening because the mosquitoes, like I think it was just a blog or two ago where I was saying how the summer was so weird and there were no mosquitoes yet. Well, it seemed like it went from 0 to 1,000 overnight. Like all of a sudden one day I'm out in the garden doing my usual thing in the morning and I just end up covered in mosquito bites. So we just went from one extreme to the other. And now it's not comfortable to be out there at all. And this is the most important time of year to be out there because this is when the pests are really starting to get bad, like the squash bugs are starting to lay eggs and stuff. And so I really need to be out there monitoring, especially like my cucumbers, watermelons. I've got a small butternut squash, which I don't know if it's going to get anywhere because it was a late start. So maybe by October, we might have some butternut squash. And then my pumpkins, which are doing fabulous. But those are all plants that the squash bugs especially love, especially my pumpkins. Oh my goodness, they will not leave my pumpkins alone. So I need to be out there monitoring all of that. I need to get some copper fungicide sprayed because it rained Monday. It absolutely downpoured yesterday. We got like 2 inches of rain in an hour. So everything's wet again, which actually that reminds me. So someone had asked, I can't remember if it was on Instagram or YouTube. Anyway, somebody had asked about my compost, which I haven't shared in a while because I've had to restart it so many times because of the rain. It was finally to a point where it was working because we had stopped having rains. Well, then after yesterday, when we had the like 2 inches of rain in an hour, where one of the little compost, so it's terracotta pots that I drilled holes in, I put into the ground and put my scraps in it and then stir it. And that way it allows like earthworms to get in and stuff and kind of help the process. But this one in particular is over near my tomato bed and it's kind of sloped a little bit. So when it rained, the water just washed down the hill and it ended up in this pot and it flooded it again. And I went out there as soon as the rain was over and took the lid off and there's no drying it out. Like it's ruined again. So I'm going to say I thought we were doing good and we were finally at a point where it was starting to compost, but then it got washed out again. So I think the rain, honestly, if we had like a normal summer where it was not raining like it should be right now, it would probably work okay. But as it is, it's really not. The one benefit, though, that I can say I am finding to this is that it is drawing in all of the pill bugs and the snails and the slugs. And so, because they are focused on the food scraps that are in basically these rotting pots, because that's what they're doing instead of composting. But since they are focused on that, they are leaving my plants alone. So that, I mean, it's worth its weight in gold, honestly. So I will probably still continue doing it if for no other reason than it's helping me control all of the pests, those kinds of pests, to keep them out of my other plants. So anyhow, I have ordered a mosquito suit, I meant to say before I got off on that tangent. So it's due to be here Friday, and I'm going to see if that will help because the sun, like I said, it's finally starting to stay out now. So I could go outside and probably get some work done because in the middle of the day when the sun is shining, the mosquitoes tend to leave you alone for the most part. I still don't know if that would be true today because everything is still so wet from our torrential downpour yesterday that they may not care that the sun is out because the ground is still like just keeping everything damp nearby. So they may still thrive just as much even in the sun, but usually in the middle of the day in the sun is about the only time that it's safe to be out in the yard doing stuff. And I really need to tend to some things in the garden since it's rained the rest of this week. I especially need to get copper fungicide sprayed because like my hydrangea Annabelle, I don't know if it's going to survive this year. It's like the one thing that the blight has been really hard on, and I have been keeping any diseased leaves and stuff pruned off of it. I have been soaking it in copper fungicide as much as I can, and it just doesn't seem to be helping it at all. So we will see what happens with that. But definitely need to get some yard work done. But at this point, I'm waiting for the mosquito suit to arrive. It should be here Friday. And then after that, I am hoping, fingers crossed, because it's essentially like mosquito netting that you wear. Um, but I'm hoping that will allow me to get out and do the gardening without having to get covered in mosquito bites and be completely uncomfortable. The only other option, and I've done it before, is wearing like long sleeves, but they have to be thicker long sleeves because mosquitoes will bite through anything thin, and jeans and like my hiking boots and the whole 9 yards. Like everything has to be covered in order to avoid getting mosquito bites. And then you about sweat to death because it's 90 plus degrees in the middle of summer and you're dressed like that. So I'm hoping that the mosquito suit will do the trick and I'll be able to go out and keep the garden maintained for the rest of summer without dying every morning from the mosquito bites. But anyhow, I am going to stop talking now before I make this forever long, and I'm going to get into the kitchen. We're going to make those popsicles, and then after that, I'm going to get to clear coating the doors. So let's go.